and good morning. Well, good afternoon. I hope everybody's doing okay. And welcome to the Be Fearless Hour. This blog I created for everybody come here and share the success story so you can be inspired into do that and make some progress and get unstuck in your life. And today I have the fabulous, the one and only, a woman that I love and admire so much, my coach, and I will call her my mentor too, Michelle Cunningham.
Thank you, my friend. It's such an honor to be here. Thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you. So, Michelle, I know you're busy woman, and that's something that I admire from you. And I know that after here, you going running to do a training. So we going into the dive, right? So, Michelle, tell us, who was Michelle Cunningham as she was growing up?
Yeah, so I grew up incredibly poor. I come from humble beginnings. My mom was a single mom, and she raised, my parents divorced when I was 6. So I was 6. I had a younger brother at the time that was 3, and my older brother was 8. And so when they got divorced, my mom became our sole caregiver. And my childhood was filled with lots of love, but very little money. And, I didn't really realize how little money we had until I started to get a little bit older. I started to realize we were different than the kids around me. I would go to their homes, and at Christmas they got like gifts and like lots of gifts and games, and we got gifts from our community. Like not every year, but the years that we were really poor. And we'd go to our church and get food. And when we'd run out, not all the time, like sometimes we had enough money, but sometimes you could only get like $7 was all that was left in our bank account. So you couldn't take out, it was less than 20, we couldn't take it out. And so that was just my childhood. I was just very, I just come from very humble beginnings, but I knew that from a young age that the harder I worked, the more money I could make. And so I started becoming a babysitter at like 13 and mowing lawns at like 12. I did whatever I could to get money because I didn't want to have to ask my mom for money. And so it established this kind of crazy work ethic in me that I wanted to make money just so I could fit in and feel like the kids around me, like I could buy an outfit on the first day of school. And so that's my childhood. It was totally loving. My mom was amazing. But I came from nothing and always felt less than those around me. And because of that, I became an introvert. I just decided it was easier to not stand out because the girls that stood out, they had money, they could dress their own way, they could be flamboyant, and they were confident. And I was like, I can't be anything. Like I couldn't wear a unique outfit because we couldn't afford it. Right. So I just decided it was easier to be an introvert. And so that I spent a lot of my life just being very quiet and shy because of we were the different family. So that's how it started.
So during that time, what was your biggest influence? Or who was your biggest influence during that time?
Well, my mom was my biggest influence, and she always taught me that in order to make money, you have to have money. And so I remember that being like, I don't think that's true. Right. So my mom had some thoughts that weren't necessarily true. And she still says some of that stuff today. And I'm like, no, Mom, like you can make money yourself. Like, right. And so my mom was my biggest influence. And it wasn't until later in years, like when I became probably like age 20 is when I started to read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I was like, oh, right. Those are the books that started me. I was like, wait, no. Mom, I think you were wrong. Like, I think I can make a lot of money, And so then those books, I started to, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, How to Win Friends and Influence People, Susie Orman, like all of her books, Joel Osteen books. Like I started to just become that, like reading all of that stuff. And it changed my complete mindset to like one of abundance, one of like, the world is amazing. Everything is great. We can have it all. It's just, we just, determine it all by what we think in our mind. And so I'd say those books are what shaped everything for me,
Awesome. And then you went to college, and tell us about your college experience and how everything happened during that time, because I know a lot happened during those years and then after. So
yeah. So I applied to a few colleges. One was University of Connecticut, UConn, and then another one was Marietta College in Ohio. And Marietta College, I lived in Connecticut at the time, but ironically, they were looking to fill like a quota. I think, at least this is my theory. They were looking to fill a quota of Connecticut students to Ohio. And so and I came from a poor family. So I got a great financial aid package, so much so that I'm like, let's do it. So I went to Marietta College in Ohio and I waited tables at Applebee's on the weekends. So I would work Friday, like 8 hours Friday night, it'd be like, I don't know, 6 to 2 a.m. And then I'd work all day Saturday and all day Sunday. It was almost 40 hours on the weekend. But that's how I paid for, I owed like $2,000 a quarter that I had to come up with. So that's how I paid my way through college. And I had to work, otherwise I couldn't be in college. So, so paid my way through school and got good grades and partied a lot less than the other kids, but still was definitely a partier. Like I would come home at like 11 p.m. or midnight and be like, okay, let me have a few drinks and like hang out. So it was actually good because it probably kept me out of trouble because everyone was always getting into trouble at college. But gosh, it was just like the best time of my life. I had some of the most amazing friends that I still have today. And I loved college. And it was one of my buddies, Mark, who said, and he's actually the first chapter of my new book that comes out. Mark, I talk about him, but Mark is now a surgeon, but he was one of my best friends in college. And he said to me, you should try to get a job as a pharmaceutical sales rep. It's like impossible, like so impossible. And I took it as like a dare. And so I don't even like medicine or I don't like anything about pharmaceuticals, but he's like, you can make good money. So I like literally got a book about how to land a job in pharmaceutical sales and made it like my mission. And I did. I landed a job right out of college as a pharmaceutical sales rep, which was a pretty good gig right out of school. That was like 20 years ago. I was making $45,000 right out of school. I had a company card. I had a $20,000 a month $20,000 a year to spend on doctors, like on food and stuff. So it was fun.
So awesome. And then how do you came into the network marketing?
Yeah. So I'm at that job at Pharmaceutical Sales, and my coworker says to me, "Hey, my wife, she works for a company, but during the night she sells for this home party company. She goes to people's houses and sells them skincare and makeup." And I'm like, "Oh," and he's like, "You could do that." I'm like, "All right," because again, I'm the kind of girl that's always like, a man is not a backup plan. We should always have money. Good to have multiple streams of income. So I go to this hotel event and there's a lady in the room claiming to make 6 figures. Another one's a millionaire. Another one's driving a free car. And at 23 years old, my eyes are like this. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And so I went home and I told my mom, I called her up because she lived far away. I'm like, Mom, this thing sounds amazing. And she's like, honey, multi-level marketing, network marketing, just be careful. It wasn't very common back then. This was 20 years ago, or 19 years ago. But, so anyway, I listened to my mom for like 5 days. And then on the 6th day, I'm like, I'm not listening. I'm joining. So I signed up. And then for the next 6 years, I was too nervous and too shy to tell anyone I was involved. So from age 23 to 29, I told nobody I was involved, except for like 3 people that accidentally found out I sold for the company and they would order from me. And that's how I started in network marketing. So some people join and they like skyrocket and they're like awesome. And then there's people like me that join and they're like, I feel like a loser and I'm kind of introverted and I don't think I can do this. And I did that for 6 years before I actually decided to get started.
And then what happened?
Then 29 years old, I got fed up enough with my corporate job. At the time I was in commercial real estate. I had jumped jobs and the market crashed. I was not making money in 2009. We have a visitor. My daughter might come say hi. Her little buddy friend is coming.
I love her.
Oh my God. You say hi, baby kitten. This is my baby squishy kitten. I just squish her and love her. So 29 years old, I'm fed up enough with my corporate job. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make this work. Are you scared? You're going to scare them. You're going to be like, who's that scary baby? And so 29, I decided I'm going to make this work. And I found a lady that lived in my town who had earned $3 million in her career. Okay, mommy's almost done. Here, I'll call you. Go right here. So $3 million in her career. I apologize.
No problem. I adore her.
Go ahead. You call your buddy. She wants to call her boyfriend. So it's, important things. I know. He's 6. She's 5. She's dating an older guy. Yeah. So 29 years old, I decide that this is what I want to do. And so this lady shows me the ropes. She shows me how to build a business as an introvert, how to do it using text message, how do you do it using Facebook? And I was like, my biggest fear is approaching strangers. I don't want to walk up to people. Like I don't like, that's horrifying. I had this like fear that people would like eat me, like literally like that they would just like rawr, and like eat me. Like I just didn't want to approach them. And so she taught me how to do it just in an introverted way. And that's what changed everything for me. And that first month I met like 100 new clients. And the next month I was leading a team of 10 reps. And then 6 months after that, I was leading a team of 50 reps and had about 500, 600 clients at that point. Some regularly reordered, some didn't. And then from there, it just kept growing and growing and growing until, I earned high-level company cars and was on a billboard in Times Square and won a trip to London and cruise. Like all this crazy stuff happened. And again, I'm like, whoa, this is crazy because I'm just like this shy girl from humble beginnings. I don't know how this happened, but I just realized if you just love people and you're honest, like anything can happen. And so, yeah, I had an amazing 17 years in the industry, and it rocked my world, changed my life. And it was good because it made me become more confident. I was not who you see today, but now I'm like, network marketing makes you a little more tougher where you're like, shoot, that was hard. Okay, well, I didn't die. Let's move on. And so it made me like more confident than I was.
Awesome. So, and then after that, you come up with your own brand. Talk to us about that.
Yeah. So, it was like this one year I was like bored. I had just had my son. So he was like 2. And I was, once they're at 2, you're like, okay, I sort of feel like I can manage this a little more. And I had a little more extra time. And I was bored in my network marketing business. It was doing well. It was great. And I was like, maybe I'll just make a YouTube video. And so like out of boredom one night, I make a YouTube video. And initially I'm going to make my channel about how to organize. And like a few videos in, I'm like, I hate organizing. This is stupid. Let's not do it. So then I decide I really like to talk about business. I love to talk about network marketing. And so I started to make videos on, hey guys, like I'm just an introvert. True story. I came from humble beginnings and I was like really bad at network marketing for 6 years. And then I like changed some things and then I skyrocketed. And this is what I did. And there was something just very, I don't know, like organic and simple about that people were like, whoa, this is really helpful. And I was like, really? Like, I couldn't believe I could help people,
Actually, I'm gonna stop you right there because I need to make this comment. I remember you during those times because I started watching your videos, and I remember going to my upline and say, hey, I love her so much.
Oh, she's so sweet.
Yes, come on, join us in the interview. So, and I remember because at that time you had Brady was a baby, and I remember you doing the videos with him, and it was so adorable, and I loved it, and I loved your energy, and I remember going, picking up your ideas and going to my upline and say, hey, what do you think about this? I think that this information she just shared is amazing. It can help us, and I was turned down. And I was like, how does people don't see what she's doing? It's amazing. And then I try, and then things happening to my life, but I never stopped following you. I just want you to know that I never stopped.
Love that.
And that's why I admire you so much, because I have followed you since you were organized.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy. Yeah.
All the way to now. But
yeah,
continue on, because I know you have something in store for us coming soon. Is it launched yet?
It's launching end of January. It'll be out. So I started that YouTube video. Then people started to follow, and I couldn't believe it. Still to this day, can't believe it, but I love it because I've met all these cool friends like you, like legitimate friends that I have online now, and it just fills my cup, and it warms me to know that something I trained on was a new thought to someone else, and it helped them in their business. And I think that's what's so cool about what you do and what I do, what everyone does that decides to show up, is that when someone sees you as an expert, the second you share something they don't already know. And we all think a little bit differently about the world, and we all have different ways of doing things. And sometimes the most stupid, like, I think it's just stupid, like, oh, I did it this way. And people are like, oh my gosh, I never thought of that. And I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. But that's what's so cool about it, is that it's so unique. And so that channel grew and grew, and people started to follow me, and I got a call from a company. They wanted to fly me out to speak to their network marketing company. And I'm like, what? I'm just a YouTuber. Like, what? And that was the start of it, because he's like, bring along any training you have. And I was like, training? Okay. And I'm like, I better make some. So I remember recording a CD that night, and I was like, how to generate leads, how to host a party, how to team build. And I made it. I got them burnt on. I didn't know how to make a CD. I got it burnt on a CD, put a cover on it, and brought those and sold them, and then put them on a website, and then started to run Facebook ads to those little CDs. They were $17. And I remember that was when I realized I had something, because every time people would go to that page, they would buy it and buy it and buy it. And I was like, huh. So I hired an ad expert. I didn't know what I was doing with Facebook ads. And I remember doing like $70,000 in CD sales in a month. And like, yeah. And I remember being like, holy, that is insane. Like we might have spent I was like, if we had this much money, I'm like, well, you can spend more if it's making more, right? So they would make more. And then I was like, oh, you can spend more then. And then they make more. And it was like, well, then you can spend more. So it was insane. And so that was kind of the start of it for me. And that's when I realized like, maybe like I could help more people. I'm like, maybe there's people out there that want my stuff. So I started to make courses and then that just exploded so much so that after 17 years of being with my network marketing company, I prayed about it for a year, like a full year of like, what am I going to do? Like, I feel like God was like, you need to train on a bigger level. Like you are going to be an international trainer. And I was like, yeah, like who am I to be that? Like, that's so crazy. And I just ignored it. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to honor that calling. I'm going to go in that direction. And so I left network marketing after 17 years and honored that calling. And God has just completely changed our life, like with that. And the business has exploded beyond, I mean, it makes 14 times what I was making as a top network marketing earner. And it just blows my mind. And so we have total laptop lifestyle. We just we're in Florida. We're just like we're like nomads right now, just living in Florida, running around, having fun. But it blows my mind, I guess. And I'm so thankful and so blessed for people, just everyone, like just crazy. So it's awesome.
I love it. I love your story. So amazing, so inspiring. So tell us, because this year something happened. You became an author this year. So tell us about that experience.
I'm so excited. So yeah, so like I was on this talk show. That's what's so crazy about this year. I keep meeting like really cool people. You included, like I just meet the awesomest people. And I was on this Angel and Tina morning show, and both of the girls that were on that morning show were like, we're international best-selling authors. And I'm like, whoa, how do you do that? Like, could I do that? And they're like, yeah, anybody could. I'm like, really? Because I'm like, that would be cool. Like, international best-selling author, Michelle Cunningham, right? So I just thought that would sound cool. So I was like, what am I going to do? They're like 25,000 words. That's what you need to write. I'm like, okay. So that night I sat down, and in 1 hour with my kids playing around me, my 8-year-old and my 5-year-old, I wrote 1,000 words. And I was like, oh, shoot, I just need 25 hours. I'm like, why don't I just like get this done? So I cranked out that book. I wrote 25 hours, whoop, book done, hired an editor. And the book is, I don't know the subtitle, but it's like a playful, simple, unique guide to having success in network marketing. And the book is called Do It Anyway, Girl. And it's basically just like, it is my whole story that I shared here, but it's like the mean people I met in the journey and the nasty this thing that happened and the awesome thing that happened here and how I went from like, I don't even want to talk to anyone to like, oh my gosh, that person like actually came in for an appointment and I sold to them. So it's a step-by-step of like how I built my confidence over the course of those 17 years to where I am today. Because I feel like you sometimes see these people, you know, and I still see them today. They're like so confident. They're like, don't you know who I am? They're all confident. And like, and sometimes you don't know their backstory, or maybe they just started confident, but I was not that girl. I did not start confident. I've gotten confident over the years from all of the trials and tribulations and stuff. And so the book takes you on that journey so that you realize like, no, you could do it too. Like you could do the same thing I've done and do it your way and do it even better. That all of us are called to a bigger level. And that's what the book is. So it's like an inspiring read, but also gives you like the scripts that I said, the texts that I said, the emails I said, like, because I feel like a lot of trainers out there, they're like, just book an appointment. And you're like, yeah, but like how? Like, what do you say? Like, tell me exactly word for word what you said so I can like tweak it. So that's what I give you is I give you my exact, like, this is how I booked this person. And this is how I got them on my team. And this is, so it's very like very detailed.
Yes, I got to be one of your beta tester for your book. And I can tell you, everybody out there, you need this book because it's an amazing tool for your business and for confidence building. This is an amazing book. Her stories, I cannot say enough, amazing. But it is a great book. And I mean, if you are in network marketing, you you need to have this book. So when does it launch?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I had the final copy in my hand and I was doing recording the other day and I read one website link is spelled wrong. The word challenge, we left the G out. So now I have to go back to my formatter and she's on vacation till January 3rd. So like so I'm just waiting for that. And then my back cover, there's one word that has to be fixed. So it's done. The back cover's done. The front cover's done. The spine is done. The audio, I'm waiting for that to come back. So I'm hoping January 30th could be our like official launch date. So once I have the final copy, then we send it to Amazon. They send me a copy. and then it launches after that. So I will say January 30th, barring any random, it's just like, it's hard because you write the book and then you're like, oh shoot, you got to edit the book.
Yes.
And then you don't want to like, I'm like
writing now, editing, like, not that much.
Yeah, I enjoy writing a book, and I thank God I hired an editor, and she was amazing. But I'm like, you actually enjoy doing this? She's like, yeah, I read your book 7 times and find all the errors. I'm like, that is like the most awful job ever. Like, and she loves it. She's like, first we read it and then we move it around, and then we read it and then we look for spaces, and then we read it and we look for. I'm like, oh my gosh, like. I don't know who. Bless her heart. So I did not know what was involved in editing, but she's like, can you read the book again? And I'm like, I don't want to read the book again. I wanted to write the book and be done with it. So I've had to read it a few times. I'm like, oh, editing. I don't mind writing a book though. So just write a book and you'll figure the other parts out as you go.
But Michelle, your story is so amazing and so inspiring to all the people that are out there that are looking for, to hear somebody experience that they can identify with, and then think that, they also can do the same thing and move forward. And I think this is why, for me, it's so important to share the stories with everybody in the world, because I think more people don't know enough about this success story, especially yours. So, first of all, I want to thank you for being here today, but I also want to ask you where the people can follow you and find you in social media.
Awesome. So if you want to get on the wait list for my new book, the book is called Do It Anyway, Girl. And that's the website, doitanyway.girl.com. So if you go to doitanyway.girl.com, that will get you on my wait list for my book. And in addition, my website is michellcunningham.com, just my name. So michellcunningham.com. I actually got my website back. So,
is that correctly?
Do It Anyway, Girl. You wrote anyway. Or you wrote anyway way. Yeah. It's always hard when someone's talking and you're typing. And michellcunningham.com. So, no, you have an extra way in there. Do it anyway, girl. I'll be quiet. I know. I do it too. And I'm typing up those so hard. I love your background, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I got it on Amazon.
It totally looks real. Do it anyway, girl. Yep, that is it.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
And then Facebook, where they find you, Michelle Cunningham?
Yeah, well, if you look up, I think my facebook.com/direct-sales-Michelle. Okay. That's my profile. And then I do have a business page, but my profile, I'll link you over there.
All right. Well, I'm going to post those links later on the description. And before we go, thank you so much for being here with us. I love you very much. I hope that you continue to enjoy your vacations. I feel like I need to be like you when I grow up.
Please.
Like, I want to be in Florida, just like, moving from house to house every
Where do you live? Where do you live right now?
Virginia.
Is cold there or warm?
It's cold. It's like 30. It was this morning, it was 35. It should go today. Today it's going to be warm, like around all the way onto 52. But the last couple of days has been all the way into 40s, the 30th.
Yeah. I live in Ohio normally, so that we have like 2 feet of snow. Like, it's just nightmare, right? So this is our first year that we're like, wait, let's just stay in Florida. And it's fantastic. I'm like, we can work from here. And the kids can homeschool. That's the reason we're doing it.
Awesome.
Right? Like, they're virtual. So I'm like, dude, let's just be here. And we're still not around people. We're keeping our distance, and it's been amazing. So
it's great. Could you just send me a little bit of that sunshine in a box?
No. I went for a run this morning and I was sweating. I'm like, this is fantastic. 70. It's crazy. But it has been a little chilly. So like, there's days where it's 53 here, but like, it's not snowing and my face doesn't hurt. My face always hurts in Ohio. It's so cold there.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Michelle, for being here with us today. And next week we're having Andrew Kapp, is an author of the Law of Attraction book. It's actually it's called The Last Law of Attraction book you need to read, something like that. But he's amazing, and I read his book. It's really good. So next week, don't miss that. It's going to be 1 p.m. And thank you, Michelle, again. And we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.